welcome to What You're Reading, where librarians from around DeKalb County talk about the books that we are reading during social distancing. My name is Fran, and I am from the North Lake Library.
I am Angela, and I'm from the County Line Ellenwood Library.
I'm Mia, and I'm over at the Decatur Library.
And I'm Nicole. I'm from the Harrison Crossing Library.
And this week we are talking about books that we love that deal with fandom and nerd culture, like two of my very, very favorite things. So these are some of my very favorite books to read and some of the ones that I like recommending most to teens who come into the library. And Angela is going to share hers first.
Yes, I'm going to set it off because Fran has a lot to show you guys.
I have a lot. Sorry.
But the book I read, and this is a new culture to me, but this was the most adorable book ever. Geekerella, and it's by Ashley Poston. And it came out a couple years ago, but it's the first of a series of books. The series is called Once Upon a Con, like conventions, that type of thing. And she's really into, she's a huge fan of Starfield, which is kind of like if Star Wars and Star Trek had a weird kind of baby, and then it just pushed off a whole nother galaxy of shows that lasted, for a decade. Her father started this convention back when she was a baby, got her interested in it. Her father has passed away, and just like the title says, Geekerella is kind of like a retelling of the Cinderella story. Her father passes away, so she's raised by her stepmother. And of course, the stepmother has two daughters, twins. One is slightly more evil than the other one. But yeah, so you've got that retelling in there, but you've got the little cute kind of geekiness of the fact that she's really into the Starfield, mostly out of this connection to her father, which is another whole sweet kind of love story in itself. Then she has this guy who is they're going to reboot Starfield for the new generation of kids. And they've just cast this guy that used to be on a soap opera who she thinks is like the worst person that could ever play Carmendor, I think his name is, or whoever the main character. She just goes on her blog and she just rants. It gets ever had. It's almost 100,000 views overnight. So then she becomes like a serious vlogger. It just goes on and on. I don't want to keep telling the whole entire thing. It's one of the few books that I read in a long time that actually made me smile. And, she has her own little tragedies in there. Yeah, there's some backstabbing with the sisters, some bullying and that kind of stuff. And there's a lot of love. And it's so geeky. I love nerd love. It's so, so sweet. So I would recommend this one. And like I said, it's the first of a series of books. I liked it so much that I've already ordered the second one, and I've got that one coming. So yeah, so I hope you guys enjoy that. I'm going to pass it to Mia.
I think I might have to put that on my list. That sounds adorable.
It's adorable. Oh, I tell you this too. If you see on the cover, it's a vegan food truck called Magic Pumpkin. Oh. And that's kind of like a play on the Cinderella thing too. But she works in a vegan food truck and makes friends with a girl with green hair named Sage, who just happens to be the daughter of the owner of the food truck. So I thought that was cute, her Magic Pumpkin. So
I love
it's all those little quirky little, punny little things in there, but it's just, it's cute.
Mine also has geek in the title. Mine is called Geektastic, Stories from the Nerd Herd. So, and it's got some of my favorite authors just in here telling nerdy stories that they, basically in the intro, Holly Black and Cecil Castelluci are the ones who edited it, talk about how they met at a con convention and how they had all these ideas for geeky stories that could never be published. And they're like, we did an anthology and we got all our geeky friends to each submit a story. And that's what they did. The other thing that is so adorable about this book is it will have the short story by one of the authors, and then a tiny little blurb about the author, and then a comic.
Oh,
First. Yeah, so it's just so funny. It's just geeks celebrating their life. One of my favorite stories, I haven't read all of them yet, but so far one of my favorites is, because I've been sort of flip-flopping around, is the one by Wendy Mass. It's just so adorable. But again, it's like that little geek romance, which is so cute. But love this book. I'm looking forward to reading more of the short stories in it. It's available as a regular physical book for contact-free pickup, and it's also an ebook on Overdrive. And I will send it to Nicole.
I love that. I have to say, like, as a self-proclaimed, like, nerd, I am digging all of these books.
I think all librarians are self-proclaimed nerds to some degree.
Definitely.
We became librarians for a reason.
Exactly. Well, my thing just went to sleep, so sorry, hang on one second. What I read was called Super Adjacent, and it is by Cestari, and this just came out in March of this year, and I have to say, I really like it so far. It's about a girl named Claire who is obsessed with superheroes, and like in, it's like modern day, and then where she lives, it's called Warrior Nation, and like superheroes are like super what's the word I'm thinking of, part of an organization, so they make a lot of money off of being superheroes. And so she has been obsessed with Warrior Nation since she was like a very, very young girl, since she was saved by a superhero, her and her mother. And so she gets an internship at Warrior Nation, and she meets the newest superhero, Girl Power, aka Joy, and she hates Joy. She thinks Joy is full of herself. She doesn't like that Joy knows nothing about Warrior Nation, and she really hates Joy because her favorite superhero is retiring to make room for Joy. I don't want to give away everything, but there's a love story. There's
enemies to lovers.
Enemies to lovers trope.
Yes. Favorite.
Enemies to lovers trope. There's kidnapping. There's super villains. Yeah, guys, it's just an all-around fabulous read. It's for grades 7 through 10. I 100% recommend it. We have it as ebook and a physical book. Go ahead and read it today. It's so easy. I got through like half of it in a day. Like it's like told through that like two-person perspective. So the first one is Claire, and then the second one is a girl named Bridget who is dating a superhero. It's good. I recommend.
So we're
Fran.
Do we do drum roll?
Okay, so pretty much like my entire life revolves around fandom. Like I'm wearing a shirt right now for one of my current fandoms, BTS, by B, Stream Life Goes On. Like, go check these boys out. These rich kings deserve your love. But what you may not have noticed is that behind me is probably one of my biggest fandoms, and also contains the book that I am going to talk about. Rainbow Rowell is one of my favorite YA authors, and I collect her books. And one of her books, Fangirl, right here, deals with a character who is very involved in fandom, and this is the book that I'm going to talk about today, and then I'm going to talk about the book that I think we've already talked about, Carry On, but I'm going to talk about Carry On again because I feel like you have to when you talk about Fangirl. Basically, Fangirl is about a college student named Kath who is very involved in the Simon Snow fandom, which is a book series that is very much like Harry Potter, but is not Harry Potter. Thank you very much. Harry Potter is mentioned in the book, so this is a world in which Harry Potter exists. And there's also another series called Simon Snow that is similar, but not derivative. And she's a huge fan of Simon Snow. So she is a big name fan in the Simon Snow fandom. And she used to write fanfic or fan fiction where she told her own stories through the characters of the book with her sister Ren. And this is their first year in college. They're going off to the same college, and all of a sudden Ren is really interested in becoming a different person. Like, Ren kind of wants to be popular. Ren, like, changes her hair without talking about Kath and signs up to be roommates with somebody else at college. And they're identical twins. Like, they've been inseparable, and they've been in this fandom. So it's kind of a time when Kath feels like she's being left behind in a lot of ways. And one of the things that I really love about this book is, if you are into fandom, you know how simultaneously like exciting and lonely it can kind of be. If you like love this thing and you don't know anybody else in person who loves this thing, and you kind of can't get your friends on board, like sometimes you find your communities online, and it's that feeling of like having a community, having a support network, but it's completely online. And you're like a big deal there, but then you go to college and your professor doesn't understand that when you're writing fanfic, that's still original fiction, even if you didn't create the characters. Like, she doesn't know anybody other than her sister who's read these books and loves them the same way that she does. So it's really sort of a coming of age story. There's a lot of family stuff that goes on, but I love it a lot. I highly recommend it. It is a romance. Obviously, I love it. I own a lot of copies of it. Pretty much anytime a new edition comes out, I buy a copy. So this is my collection right now. That's the original. These were special editions in the US. This is it in French, US paperback, and this was a British edition right there. Another thing that I love about this book is that Rainbow Rowell, the author, loved it so much that she wanted to write books about the fake world that she created in Fangirl, and that's what Carry On is. I highly recommend Carry On. Baz Pitch is an icon. He's my standee. He's like behind me during all of these videos. Basically, this is one of my favorite fandoms, and it happens to tie into this. So I am geeking out myself just a little bit. I love these books a lot, obviously. Wayward Son comes out next year. Pre-order, make that happen. Get that book on bestsellers list. And I would highly recommend them to any teen who enjoys fandom, enjoys Harry Potter, but also kind of wants to look at Harry Potter a little critically. So yeah, that's what I have.
So glad viewers finally got to see your shelf.
I don't know. It's sort of like it always makes you feel a little vulnerable, like showing off all of your like fandom stuff. So I hope that you enjoyed looking at my big nerd shelf, and we're freaked out by it. So this is the end of another video. We hope that some of these books sounded interesting and that you might want to read them. We'll have all of the information below about how to either get paper copies of these books through contact-free pickup at your library, or digital versions of them. We'll have the links to those as well. So we will be back in 2 weeks, and we will see you then. Bye.